Welcome, namaste, hello to all the viewers to today's session on crop management in tea plantation. I, Shubhayu Ghosh, crop manager, vegetable crops and tea plantation, will be hosting the session for the day. And we are privileged that we have with us today a renowned tea scientist and tea consultant, Dr. Pradip Ghosh. Sir, welcome to the session, sir.
Thank you.
Before we get into the questions, sir, for the viewers' perspective, I would like to give a little brief about Dr. Ghosh. Dr. Ghosh has a PhD in a drainage system in tea. He is also an expert in the tea husbandry practices, including soil health and water management. Dr. Ghosh has been associated with Tea Research Association for as long as 41 years, and he was last posted as the Chief Advisory Officer for the North Bengal region of TRA. Even post-retirement, Dr. Ghosh is continuing his services and is providing consultancy services to more than 35 tea estates in North Bengal. He has also been associated with renowned institutions like the Tea Board of India, the North Bengal University, and he is continuing his services towards the betterment of tea industry till now. So, sir, thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule and giving it to us. Again, a warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm also very delighted to be with you.
Okay. Sir, I will start with the questions. I have a list of questions with me. To start with, sir, since last year, as we all know, the humanity as a whole have been facing a major challenge in form of this COVID pandemic, and all the industries are facing this challenge, and tea industry was no exception. But in spite of all these challenges, what we have seen that for tea industry, 2020 has been considered as one of the good years in terms of produce price. Sir, according to you, what were the reasons for this getting good prices in tea in last year?
Yes, it's a very interesting and very useful question. In fact, the price that starting price that came in the year 2020, I don't think we have seen it this kind of difference in very distant memory. Now, despite we had a lockdown, as everybody knows, more than about a month and a half, and it had affected the crop like anything. What 2.5 months to 3 months crop was people got suffered. First flush and second flush were down by about 20%, in some cases even 70%. Now all through, be it Dwars, be it Assam, this was the scenario. As a result, the productivity went down. I personally feel that it is the demand and supply which was the major issue insofar as enhancing the price of tea last year, because in the previous year or last few years we had been seeing that good quality tea was fetching remunerative prices. Last year it was not the same issue. So the other thing could be that the people were scared that they will not have enough tea, and so they started buying at a higher price. This is number one issue. The second thing could be that because of the pandemic situation, the other beverages which normally people drink, like Coca-Cola and all, those things were on a short supply. So naturally, people opted for tea to a great extent. So these are the two major issues which I feel is the responsible for the spark in price.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful answer. Sir, as in 2021, also we are now, going through the second wave of pandemic. So, do you see the repetition of same kind of scenario this year as well? If you talk about North Bengal and Assam tea.
Basically the scenario, although we had undergone the second wave, but tea industry has not suffered to the same extent as it was in the last year. Means the lockdown did not affect the close down the stations or estates, and availability of labor and all was not that much affected. So production is in, I'll not say in full swing, but in fairly good state of affairs. And as a result, the crop in April and May, we saw that it has not suffered the sufferance that has occurred in some areas like Terai or parts of Assam. It is due to weather scenario. It's due to the continuation of the droughty situation has lowered down the crop intake, and that is only the reason. Otherwise, the pandemic situation, I don't personally feel that had any impact on the productivity. Now, despite that, you are very right that the price which we are getting, being quoted, is quite high and higher than the earlier occasions. Even it is comparable with last year. So it could be that as last year a benchmark has been created so far as the price of general tea is concerned by the buyers. So that phenomena is still going on. Or the other thing, they are feeling that again a pandemic situation might arise and there will be a lockdown of longer duration. So people are taking stock of the available product. Could be. But as such, scenario is better this year. Although one plus point is there, this year what I have seen, the good product, the quality product is getting a better price than last year.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, now this is the month of June, and this is the peak time for tea flushing. So what would be your key some advices to the tea planters to minimize the losses during this kind of this scenario?
See, if we don't, in a normal year, say June, July, August, is being considered as the main active growth of tea. Maximum, we harvest the maximum crop, particularly in Assam. In Dwars also it is no less. Now, at this time, there are several factors which deter the growth. The planters should be careful about those aspects which are deterrent to it, namely pest management, disease management, weed management, and above all, application of fertilizer in time and in the right time, right quantity, and in the right place. So, if these measures can be done properly, there should not be any problem. The other aspect, which is a very subjective thing, but nevertheless very important, is plucking. The plucker, the estates must pluck properly, must pluck of a certain standard, so that the finished product achieves a good standard of quality, and thereby they can fetch better price.
Thank you so much, sir.
These are the factors which.
Yes, sir. Please.
No, another two aspects are also there. So far as the field management is concerned, we can come across in tea areas of Northeast India two distinct zones. One is called the droughty phase, and the other is the rainy phase. Now, droughty phase is over. It starts sometimes from October, November, and continues till March, April. And that phase is more or less over. It has affected, as I already said, certain areas of Dwars. Terai has been affected, and certain places of Assam is affected. But this is the period. That's the main active growth period. We get plenty of rain, as it is known. The monsoon, pre-monsoon showers are there. So that rain does a big, is becoming, sometimes it becomes headache. It is very much essential growth, but simultaneously, nevertheless, it has got its ill effects also if we cannot take care of the rain blasts or the rain things, rainy issues.
Thank you, sir. Sir, as we understand that weather plays a major role in overall tea production. So, according to you, if we talk about North Bengal and Assam for this year, how has the weather been till now?
I will say this year was slightly less favorable than last year. Last year was quite an ideal year. Up to April, Dwars also has witnessed the vagaries of drought. After April, things improved a lot. It started from end of October when the rain packed up. In Assam also, the droughty situation, which normally in Assam it really doesn't come, but so far as I gathered, certain regions had very poor rainfall, and they suffered. In Terai, they have possibly seen worst drought during last 15 or 12 years. So this is the scenario. This has deterred their growth, and they are even in the first week of June. They are yet to come up to the level of their production. So it will affect, but Duars is not affected. Certain gardens have done very well, and the growth rate is also so far is okay.
Thank you so much, sir. As we are talking about weather, so this year in the month of April, many of the tea growing areas have faced a challenge in terms of hailstorm. And we are now fast approaching the time of monsoon, the major monsoon season. So, in your opinion or in your expert advice, what should the tea growers should follow to minimize the losses due to such natural disasters like hailstorm or maybe heavy rain or continuous rainfall? So, what should be they following to minimize the losses?
Yeah. See, hailstorm is a natural phenomenon, and unfortunately, in the northern part or northeastern part of the country, it is quite recurrent up to May or even late May. Up to late May, it occurs. It does a lot of damage. Young tea gets severely bashed up. So that kind of scenario comes in. The prune trees, they lose a lot of primaries. Now, to any prevention, as it's a natural thing like flood and all, there is hardly any preventive measure against the hail that we can do. One thing, that only thing is having a fairly good stand of shade so that the impact becomes less. Number one. That also is not everywhere it is applicable, because the shade trees also grow very tall and they get affected by the storm associated with the hail. So thereby also thrusting damage to the plants. So we have to bear on with it. We have to see how quickly we can come over from the onslaught that has really occurred. I can just mention one or two things on how to get rid of. How we can be better off once we point out or we come across about the damages that takes place. Once the damage takes place, the first thing we must take care of so that there is no fungal infection takes place. So copper or any fungicide spraying becomes an imperative, and this is some. And secondly, we must go by some kind of additional growth promoter like zinc with tricontanol or tyanophyx, like this kind of things should be sprayed so that the regeneration rate becomes better. If a section becomes very badly damaged, even we do go for excess of manure, another additional dosage of manure also to improve our productivity. So these are the things. And for the long term effect, apart from making a better shade stand, south part and the west part can be having a sort of barrier of shade trees or tall trees, so that the impact becomes lesser when it approaches the tea estate. Last but not the least, another thing can be tried out at a state level. Any vacant patches which are not under tea should be planted with some kind of vegetation or some kind of trees, so that the climate becomes cool and humid. And if it becomes very dry and very very hot suddenly, then the chances of hailstorm seems to be more prominent.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a detailed explanation that how we can minimize our losses from such kind of natural disasters or heavy rainfall kind of challenges. Sir, because you are an expert in this particular area, and this is also very important. And my next question would be about drainage system. So drainage system has been very important in overall tea production. So as an expert, sir, what would you suggest few of the measures how the tea growers or tea planters can improve upon the overall drainage system in their tea estates or their tea growing areas?
Thank you. Yeah, this is my most favorite subject. I had been working on with it for a pretty long time. So the drainage system is a very unique thing for tea industry or tea plantation, because as I already said that our productivity depends on water, but again excess of water causes us maximum damage. In fact, our major pests and diseases are also waterborne. So we have to harvest the water, but see to it that it is not becoming harmful in any sense. What kind of harm this monsoon rain or imparts to tea industry in Northeast India I'm talking about. Here, two particular things happens. One is soil erosion because of the slope of the land. Water becomes very fast, velocity increases, and with that this thing soil particles also get returned, and on the process they damage a lot of drains and culverts. This is one aspect. The second thing, which is very common and big problem in case of in Assam, is a high water table. So you see, the rainfall depth in Assam is not very high, but this compared to Dwars is not very high. But the water table gets built up because of the nearness of the permanent water table, and as a result, during this monsoon, it approaches very near to the surface. Once it reaches very near to the surface, what happens? My aeration pore space becomes clogged, and so the growth and nutrient uptake, everything suffers. So in case of Assam, in those scenarios, we should take care by means of placing proper drains at proper intervals, so that that water table which comes twice, five times or 10 times in a year is being controlled. That is called the control of water table. That is being achieved by means of placement of proper sized fill drains at proper intervals. In case of Dwars, or particularly the Darjeeling type of soil, where the slope is there, we have to break the soil water velocity by placing contour drains or drains at a regular interval. They may be a little bit shallower in depth, but they should be placed at regular interval. And we should also ensure that once that water comes through a collector drain or the main drain, the velocity checking is being done from time to time.
Thank you so much, sir. From drainage system, it is very much related as a soil. So my next question would be on soil. As like any other agricultural crops, soil health or soil condition has become very important for the growers. So what would be your some key suggestions to the tea planters to improve upon the overall soil condition or the soil structure in tea?
See, if we look into the soil properties of tea growing areas of Northeast India, over the years, we are finding that the soil fertility level is going down. It's because of a simple reason that we are exploring the soil. Ultimately, whenever we plant something, we have some trees or shrubs or anything, it exploits the soil. But what is the thing that we are returning it back? This thing has to be thought of. Unfortunately, during last 20 years or maybe even 30 years, we have introduced many things to enhance our productivity in tea soils, but we have not taken adequate measures to build up the soil, replenish the losses that we are incurring. As a result, the fertility has gone down. Now, to combat this one, there is only one way that we have to do is that is the build up of the organic matter content of the soil. Organic matter is the main thing through which the soil gets enriched and it helps the plant to come into the productive phase. Now, so far as the organic matter is concerned, it has got three different things. It helps the physical condition, establishes the physical condition of the plant, soil, chemical additives also comes, and third, most important part is the microbiological or the microbe or organic manure that we are giving or organic matter that is coming into the soil naturally should be retained. So, and unless we do that, our productivity level we cannot improve in course of time.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, if we see the recent trend across the globe and as well as in India, mycorrhiza as a product has been very well accepted among all the agricultural crops, and each and every crop we have been seeing that a huge use of mycorrhiza. If we see the trend of last 3 to 4 years, so according to you, how mycorrhiza as a product can help tea industry, and what you see the future of mycorrhiza in tea?
The mycorrhiza is a fungus associated with the rootlets. All fungus are not beneficial for the plant. So there are specific group of fungus which being identified, and they are put in association with the tea, root, maybe tea, maybe any crop, and they improve the two things they impart. One is they make the nutrients more available to the plants, and the second thing is they give moisture. So with these two things, this mycorrhizal association with the root can go a long way to improve the productivity, and it has got no harmful effect. It has got all beneficial effect. While harmful effect, I mean that when we give inorganic fertilizer, it disturbs the root system also once it exceeds a certain quantum, be it nitrogen, be it anything. But so far as the biofertilizers or these microbes are concerned, the more the merrier is the scenario. The other thing which I would like to mention, that recently there have been some studies which indicate that avascular mycorrhiza fungi produce a protein which binds the soil particles and store both nitrogen and carbon. This is an important part of soil organic matter. Benefits of mycorrhizal association is not limited to availability of nutrients and only. In absence of sunlight, it carries out photosynthesis, and that is the reason if the roots which are located in deeper layers, they can also grow, or they can those plants which are having deep rooted rooting system, they can also grow. It is being seen in the forest flower and all. So therefore the mycorrhiza has got that mat, mycorrhizal mat, if it can be formed, will go a long way to combat, to give the make the plant self-sufficient so far as its food materials are concerned. So I believe your company has come out with a product called Mycor. It has got I personally feel it has got a big future both in young tea as well as in mature tea. And its association, because tea soil again, as I already said, that is getting depleted very soon, very fast, so far as this fertility is concerned. So this is the only one of the ways whereby very simple way we can reclaim our soils.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful view on the benefits of mycorrhiza. And along with you, we also believe that mycorrhiza will help tea industry in the long run to improve the soil quality, also making the tea plant more self-sufficient. So,
In this excuse me, Mr. Ghosh, in this regard, I would like to say that in the tea industry, people are not very much aware of the benefits of mycorrhiza. It has to be made, they have to be made known about the beneficial aspects of mycorrhiza, its association, and how best they can utilize the products. It is a very thing for tomorrow.
Absolutely agree, sir.
Yeah.
So from mycorrhiza, we come to another, from soil problems, we come to another major problem that has the tea industry has been facing for years and years now, that is the pest problem. As we know, in tea, there are many kind of pests which have been making havoc to the industry for years and years now. But if we see the recent trends in the recent years, have you observed any particular change in the overall pest dynamics? If you have, what is it, sir?
Yeah, see, changes, as it is a natural thing, nature based. So obviously, there should be some changes, and pest dynamics is a very big issue, big important branch of science. Here, lot of factors are responsible for its manifestation. Now, in the recent past, or during last 30, 40, 50 years, one of the major issues that is coming in India and Northeast India is also no less affected: deforestation and urbanization. Both these factors is doing disturbing the ecological balance of the nature. As a result, some of the pests which were minor pests yesterday has become the major pest. I can name one pest and think then, and everybody in tea industry knows about the looper. Recent, the 4 different types of new looper, breed of looper that has devastated dwarfs and terrai badly over the last 7-10 years, and now it has even moved to North Bank and Assam. Those were not being located by our scientists in the past. It is a recent phenomenon. And one of the interesting things that has come in, that for the Hypocidra talaca, that the people said that originally it used to stay in shal trees. Large scale felling of the shal trees has possibly shifted that population towards the tea growing. Similarly, green fly was not at all a very major issue till the other day. Of late, particularly in dwarfs and terrai, I am finding green fly has become quite a major issue. So one has to be very careful. One has to keep their eyes and ears open and see whenever we do something against the nature, we must think what repercussion we can have. And because pesticides are there, we can kill the pests, but that is not the complete solution of the whole problem. So this is what I think.
Thank you so much, sir. So you have spoken about the loopers, the green fly. So because this is the month of June, and this is the time when tea estates face a major problem of another pest, that is red spider mites. So according to you, because this is the time, what should be the ways to for the sustainable management of red spider mites in tea estates, sir?
See, Red spider mite is not only for June and another 1 or 2 months. Red spider is a really over the years it is troubling to industry right from the month of February, becomes quite heavy in the month of March, April, May, and carries on in remnants. So, in other pests, there is no other pest. Recently, this helopeltis has come. No other pest which we have seen that continues for so many such a long time. And with the increases temperature, our scientists they have shown that its population rate goes very fast, and this is the period May, June, July when the temperature also on occasions reaches very high. And if there is an population of red spider left out in the sections, they multiply also very fast. So once they come beyond economic threshold level, they can be quite serious so far as the crop loss is concerned. Now, what best to be done? But I personally feel there should be one or two ways that is to be seen. During this period of the year, when we are actively interested to pluck and harvest best quality of tea, we must see that we are not losing any crop out of red spider, at least from red spider. In fact, for any pest, is from. Now, what to do? The moment we spot it having some areas is being affected, please spray some chemicals which has got a longer duration of control. There are chemicals. It's not that the chemicals are not there, but the level of the duration of their control is not very high. So, in fact, this is one of the major demand of the tea estates to the chemical companies to come out with the chemicals which can ensure pest-free control that particular pest for at least 2 months or 2.5 months. So this is what I will suggest, that people should select those kind of chemical, and I think Dhanuka has got a good chemical that way. Foster recently they have brought in, and people should try it out, that how best it can be. This is the period when and if it can keep us free from red spider for about 2 months, we are through, because now at this point time of the year, our major problem is mandates for plucking.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So, according to you, we should the tea estate managers or the tea growers should look for molecules which are more advanced and which are having a long duration of control.
Exactly.
Which can help with them. Lesser mandates will be
yeah
used for the same. Sir, from tea challenges and problems, we'll come to another point. Sir, if we see the recent past, I think small tea growers, there's a significant rise in the number of small tea growers across North Bengal and Assam in recent time. So many of the small tea growers will be watching this particular session. So if you have any particular advice or suggestions to the small tea grower community to improve upon their overall production.
The small tea growers, with all due respect to them, I am really very excited about their achievements. They have indoors, they have planted out soils or areas which were not suitable for tea. They have done miracles. They have planted out those areas, and not through conventional way, but through unconventional way, means employing more population, shortening the cultural practices, all these things, application of high quantum of manures, organic manure, giving plenty of irrigation, all these things. those fields in Assam also, they have done. There also the problem is drainage problem is also there in Dwars as well as in Assam, because the lands are smaller in size and they are contiguous in nature. So once water goes to the another one, they cannot make proper drainage system. So I think, if you honestly people ask me to give any part of advice, then I'll suggest that small tea growers are associated and they are doing a lot of within them they are doing a lot of work. Drainage, I will suggest that they should form a team in nearby all gardens, and they should make their main drain system so that everybody gets benefited, and one should not block the other's water. The other thing which they have done and they are doing to some extent, but they should give a lot of thoughts what best can be done, is the addition of organic manure. They are doing it in a big way, but it has to be done in a more effective way. I will suggest that personally I feel one thing, that pruning litter should not be allowed to be destroyed, and it should be retained or it should be recycled. And the small tea growers, if they can show some way, it will be a big achievement.
Thank you so much, sir. I think your suggestions will be very valuable to the small tea growers who will be watching this particular session. So now with this, we have almost come to the end of our session, and I have a last question to ask to you, sir. Sir, if we are talking about tea today, and tea is not just another beverage for us Indians, it is an emotion. And you are vastly experienced person in the field of tea and have been very closely associated with the industry for decades now. Sir, how do you see the future of tea industry in India? That is one question, number one. And number two is, how do you think that what are the ways that we can take our tea industry in the path of global glory in the coming days?
Sri, thank you. I'll give the answer the first part, and then I'll come to the second one. You see, I don't exactly remember who said it or where I did read it. Somebody said that tea is a beverage, obviously, and beverage is disposable. It is not indisposable. Today we are taking tea, tomorrow we can switch on to something else. So whatever beverage we should have, it must have some very specific quality so that we can never think of leaving it. Recent corona is showing one particular message it is giving us, that yes, tea has got some antiviral properties. It was being in TRA carried out in work during N90s, and recently other countries also they have done, and it is being found that yes, tea, black tea or green tea or any damn tea has got some antiviral properties, and it can fight any disease. This is the big message that we are having, and this also gives me an insight that tea will survive over the years through the whatever ups and downs it might come. But one thing, it should be hygienic in nature. Hygienic in nature, it should have an MRL level should be kept minimum, and it should be processed also in such a manner that people can eat without any hesitation. In the future, and as because this is the message, if we can get all over world, we can propagate this idea, and the entire world can come out of the bottled drinks that they have. Instead of that, they can come for tea, and industry's future should not be a very bad one. It should be a very bright future, I must say. I'm quite optimistic on this.
Thank you so much, sir. For with this positive note, we will end today's discussion here today. And Again, sir, thank you so very much for taking out this time for us, Dhanuka Agritech Limited, from your busy schedule. And thanks to all the viewers, all the listeners of this session for your patience listening. And thank you so much. And good day to everybody. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much to you also.
Okay.